Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Peace and I film about my Christian faith. I share everything that helps you become better as a person, and today is one of those, like, everything that helps you become better person. And I've brought a premium babe to come and give us all the tea on how to navigate your job search as an international student in the UK. Guys, I promise you at the end of this video you're gonna love me more than you currently do. If this sounds like something you are interested in, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, get your cup like I have mine, and let's jump right into the video. Hi Kinney, welcome to my channel.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
So Kinney, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Okay, my name is Kinney. I'm from Nigeria as well. Yeah. I went to the UK as an international student in 2022. I did a master's in finance at Loughborough University, and after that I did an internship for a period of time. I worked.
By the way, she did an internship in one of the leading banks. Yes, in London. Yeah.
So after my internship, I got a full-time offer, and I'm currently doing something I did totally different from my internship, and it's been a lot of work in progress, and I really enjoy what I do, and the work-life balance is also really good. So yeah.
You want to talk us through what were you doing back in Nigeria, and how did that kind of like translate into your internship first before we move into like the dynamics from moving into your internship to your full-time role?
Okay, so I did a lot of things back in Nigeria. Not a lot of things, but I did two things back in Nigeria. So I worked in pensions for a bit, then I worked in one of the audit companies for a while. So after that, I then moved for my master's. But translating it into like my internship, I think the work experience was important and useful. But then another thing you have to realize is moving to a different country, it's hard to know if they actually really take into consideration your work experience.
Do you want to talk us through how you moved from like your master's in finance to your internship? How was that process like for you?
Okay, so for me, when I first moved to the UK, I think I was really able to understand that for you to be in where you want to be, you have to have some experience in it. And as an international student, even though I had like 4 years work experience, it didn't really count. It didn't really matter because I didn't have them in the UK. So I realized that if I wanted to, do what I enjoy doing, I have to be humble enough to do an internship. I have to know that I'm starting from like the very beginning and working myself up there. Another thing I did was I wasn't just studying. I also had to build really good relationships. I also had to use my LinkedIn because I got my internship from. It's so funny because when I went through LinkedIn one day, right, and I saw this thing, CFA Young Women in Investment Program. So when I clicked on it, it had already expired. So it had already. Are you serious? It had already expired for that year, right? This was when I had
for 2022. Because you did it in 2023.
So this was when I had just moved. And like the first 1-2 months of being in the UK, I was just scrolling through my LinkedIn because I was saying, oh, how do I get a job and all those kind of things, right? So I then went to my LinkedIn. I saw that it had already expired, but I had set a reminder for the next year.
Wow.
On my LinkedIn. I had set. I don't know.
Talk about knowing what you want. Literally, like.
So I had set a reminder that when it opens the next year, that I should, get the email notification. So when it then opened up, I think sometime March or February of the next year. I clicked on it. I did like the application, but I had to write essays and I did interviews. Then I joined the program, went through the whole program process. And one of the benefits of the program is the fact that you get to have like
exposure,
work exposure, because you get to interview with like these organizations, right? So what happened was that they kind of like matched our CVs with the companies, but it was left to you to go through with the interviews. So I had like a series of 3-4 interviews there, but I can't remember. But I think the thing that really helped me when I was interviewing with my team was the fact that I had work experience in like the Big Four. So my teammate that was interviewing me at that time was like, oh, you had an experience here. I did work here as well in
one of the Big Four.
So can you tell me what you really did there? And I was like, oh, I was here for a while, this is what I did. And it's like, oh, interesting. And luckily for me, amongst like other people that we interviewed, I ended up getting it. So yeah, that was like what built up to that. But the point of it is that I was really intentional, and I knew that I think I had recognized early that I needed to do an internship. Like I had recognized, okay, that it's one of two ways. I had to either do an internship or a volunteer work, right? Because if I was going to apply for a graduate program, if there were 15 spaces for the graduate program, 13 of them is already filled by interns, right? Even though they do go through the same interview process, because it's like the exact same thing, right? I knew that, okay, if those 2 spaces were there, so we're going to be like 10,000 people applying for 2 spaces. And I would rather take my chances with the internship than take my chances with the graduate program. So
yeah. Just speaking about internships, because I mean, you guys, I've not really spoken about my career on this channel, but very soon I'll make a video on that. But just speaking about internships, Skinny, you had 4 years work experience in Nigeria.
I'm doing internship, right?
And then you had to do an internship. I mean, you already said you have to be humble enough. I had about 2 years work experience, not completely up to, but it's about 2 years work experience. So I feel like it's easier for me to be humble. The humility for me, right?
It's not hard.
It's not hard. And I know someone whom we did the MSc Finance. She did the MSc Finance in Loughborough, and I did it in Lancaster. He had to go back to Nigeria. He said he couldn't bring himself down to doing an internship because I mean he was already like mid-career professional. But just speaking about the internships here, what are some of the benefits of the internship? Because you mentioned something about it exposing you to the people. For me, I would say the internship is very essential because I mean, like you get to meet people in the bank as opposed to you applying for a grad scheme that, like you said, 10,000 applicants are, but you forget that when you do an internship, you've already met the people, that the recruiters, you've met people in the team already. They already know you. They probably even already want you to work with them already, as opposed to somebody that is applying and doesn't, you know. So do you want to talk about that, the concept of internships? What advice do you have for like either looking to like do the same thing or whatever? Like let's just kind of stay on internships a bit, because I know that in Nigeria we did not get to do internships, and usually the way these internships are is like the internships are basically for first and second year students, and it's just because we studied in the UK in a master's program that we kind of are qualified to be on those internship programs. Like let's just I want you to kind of talk a bit around the internships and kind of how it fits into like what you're trying to achieve, age and all those things.
I kind of feel like when you're talking about internships, right, you know, it's like a learning opportunity. It's just that really few people or organizations get to pay you enough to, you know, do the internship. But the thing is, you have to understand that they believe that you don't know what it's like working in the UK, right? And the only way that, or one of the ways rather,
you can prove yourself
is through the internship, because they are bringing you in and they're going to assume, okay, you know nothing, right? So they want to guide your hands to do it, so that by the time you're probably on the graduate scheme, it's easier for you to, you know, do the work because you're already going through that internship, right? So that's like one of the benefits for them. But for us, it's like, okay, I want to use my internship experience to leverage for other things, right? So it's a case after my internship, I can always tell people, oh, I had like 6 months, 9 months, or 3 months internship with this guy. So that means that I know what it's like working in a big place in the UK. I know what it's like working in maybe finance in the UK, asset management, banking, anything you wanted to do in the UK, because they already have the experience, right? And even if you're doing something entirely different, it's the fact that they can see that somebody recruited you, so you went through that. You actually went through that whole recruitment process and you got that job. No matter how long or short the job is, somebody saw that, okay, you can actually do the job.
You feel like she gets sense.
So after they picked you, and you did it for them, and you did all those things, right? You know, speak about what you did. Another thing is also networking, because you are then able to meet people not just within your team, outside of your team, and you get to build a community. That's so funny, because one of my really close friends right now was through my internship, right? So it's like,
how did we meet?
True. It was true.
It was like the shorter version
of the internship.
True.
So it's like you get to interact with a lot of people because of the internship. You know, it's like, oh, you're new, so you're trying to be friendly, you're trying to know everyone, which in the long run is hard work. And it's no work,
bro. It's hard work.
Do you know that after the first month of doing I want to get to know everyone, I stopped it because I was like, but it's like you get to know people and people get to know you as well. So even if you want to move teams, right, after your internship, you get full-time offer. Even if you want to move teams, easy. Or even if you're going to a different place entirely, you probably know someone that works there, right? You probably know someone, or even if it's not a direct link, there is somewhere along the line that it's possible that you know someone that will connect you.
True.
I know someone in my current job right now. She actually got a referral to the company. Yeah, that was how they employed her, because they're like, oh, like, hey, I have a referral for you. So it's a case of building community or getting to know people through this internship. So for me, no matter how long or short, it's nice. It's nice to have. It's nice to do, right? And you also have to remove the mentality of
it's an internship, or like you are demeaning yourself, or you had worked in one of the big four. So imagine you saying no.
So it's important for you to recognize that one of the ways that if I want to succeed, you know, people get lucky to go through directly into the graduate program.
I agree.
People get lucky to be employed in experienced higher role, right, as well. But you have to also recognize that there are different routes to like the same thing. Like for instance, for me, I did an internship.
Guys, stealing germs here.
I did an internship, but you know that my current role is an experienced higher role right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, it's an experienced higher.
So basically, you go. I don't know. Guys, this was revelation to me. So basically, you did the internship and then you got into experienced higher.
Yeah, I got
like analyst.
No.
Wow.
So because you know I'd already done like Nigeria work experience, this internship as well. When I was interviewing, they took all of that into consideration. Yeah. So they didn't start me from like
from the internship
from the graduate.
Nah,
so they not pick me like as an experienced hire.
This is
so it's a case of it doesn't matter, right? You know that at the end of the day, if you want to work towards something or you want to be somewhere,
you need to put in work.
You need to put in the work. You actually need to know that you are swallowing things for sure.
You're just taking some jobs, like you know that, but you know it's for a while.
Exactly.
Like, you just have to pay the price.
Exactly. So you know? I was more than willing to be like, hey, even if the internship is 6 to 9 months, right? It's just 6 to 9 months. In a year, my story will change, right? I'm not going to be an intern for 12 years and 12 months, right? Even if you're an intern for 12 months, I hope you know that there are some internships that pay you more than some people's jobs.
Let's not even go there. See, you're just taking us to different places.
But you just have to understand that, like
for you to get what you want, a price must be paid. Do internships to build your network. There's a story I will share on that later as well. But really building your network with internships is very key. And I would say put yourself out there. Like international students, you don't have to feel like, I know it's a lot because you're new in the country, you're trying to settle down. Look at, she said she was 1-2 months into schooling and everything, and she just had to put herself out there. So don't be afraid to go for networking events. Sometimes you have to travel. I remember my school was in Lancaster, but like sometimes I'll come for programs in London.
Me too.
I literally leave school and come. So like don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Now let's just talk circling a bit on what you said about your 4 years experience in Nigeria. How would you say your experience like impacted what you're doing currently?
That's so funny because in a way I kind of feel like for me like the financial analysis side was something that kind of impacted what I'm currently doing, right? So it's a case of, I have been able to read and understand financial statements. I know what they mean, I know what these figures mean, I know what these calculations mean, right? So in a way it actually really helped me to be in where I am as a person. Another thing is that you have to understand that in finance you need to be on top of your game, bro. Like you need to be on top of your game every single time, right? You need to be information processing. But that's something that wasn't really rampant in Nigeria, right? Where you're on top of your game on news and everything. But I think the fact that the soft skills as well was really important. The soft skills was really important because here you get to have meetings, so you're expected to have lots of conversations, you're expected to communicate, right? So knowing that you know what it's like working in a work environment basically, right? Knowing that you know those basic skills of finance, of financial analysis, valuation, all those really basic things, right? They're like, that kind of helps us to put you in this position. We understand that there are some things that can be missing, right? Because obviously as adults we keep on learning actually. But we understand that there are things that are missing, right? Or maybe things that we see in a different light compared to how it's done in Nigeria. But it does help actually in all of them, like in all of the experiences.
The experience is awesome,
right? And I think another thing is, even though I was in the before for a really short period of time, the fact that I had them in my CV, the fact that I had them, it was so short. But the fact that if you ask me now, did you or did you not work in the big
you worked there?
I worked there.
And also it's the same thing, the fact that you had this bank in London in your CV.
Yes, because that's so funny. We actually deal with them in my current job. I have them on my portfolio in my current job. Wow. Yes, I have to interact with them in my current job. So it's a case of you've been that's interesting because we do things with them as well.
Bro, you just remember there was a time I was interviewing for one firm actually, and they had seen this other company on my CV, and they're like, that's our client. So the person I was talking to, who happened to be a Nigerian, I mean a high level, is in a high level in this other company, he was like that he's sure that the HR chose to interview me because of this other name on my CV.
It does happen actually, because they get to see where you're from. So at some point the names really do matter, right? It not like they really do matter, they do help. They give you a push or a leverage kind of. But we're not saying that if you're not working,
just be all about the name.
No, we're not saying be all about the name or anything, right? But it's nice. It's nice to have. Right.
Can we talk about like extracurricular activities and because I feel like international students, when they come in, they're just all about like they just want the money, like they don't pay attention. Do you want to talk a bit about extracurricular activities and schooling and like getting the job you desire?
I think I had already mentioned like the CFA program I did. That was an extracurricular activity because whilst I was doing my last 3 months in school, I had to do this whole other thing that was like an actual day-to-day life activity. Really? We always had classes from like I think 9 to 1. Then we had to write about sustainability, ESG. We had to do like financial modeling and all those things. So I combined both of them and was writing like my final papers and everything. So that was like a major important, that was and it's crazy because after we had left and I was working and everything, so somebody from my class reached out to me concerning it for this year, right? And she's like, oh, how did you get on it and everything? And I was like, oh, this is what happened. These are the interviews.
And you had already done it.
Yeah,
And the person is your classmate. Wow.
Yeah, and I already done it. So that was something that, really helped in extracurricular. Yeah. Another thing for me was talking to like lecturers, right? Having conversations with them. And knowing that, okay, I'm not desperate, but what are the other things I can do to help myself, to leverage me over other people? Yeah, so I was like, okay, what can I do? So it was a case of, having those conversations or just networking, You know how companies have calls like, those online meetings, how do you prepare yourself? So I was in those meetings. And there was one time I met somebody in one of those meetings that I still see her once in a while, because she gets to do like a lot of networking things, right? But it was like, those small online calls, like they're talking about how to prepare your CV, how to do this. It really helps. And it was because of the fact that I was on a call one time or one event one time online that they spoke about Forage, right? That learning. Yeah, so I went on it.
If you're trying to get a finance job, please don't just go do Forage for one of the companies you're looking to. In short, you can do all.
You can do all. So they had spoken about it, because I never heard of that before. So
I did that in Nigeria though.
Oh really? I never heard of it until I got here. So that was when I then did like the Forage thingy. And another thing, putting the Forage on my CV as the work experience also helped me as well.
Really? Oh
yes. Putting it on my CV also helped, because they are able to see that, okay, you're not just
putting an effort.
Yeah, you're putting an effort to understand what this bank does or what this company does. You have actually also done like some exercises. Some exercises for them as well. So that actually also really helps. So for me, it was just whatever talk can I see online. I think I really leveraged off LinkedIn, right?
LinkedIn,
I really used them a lot. And when I first got here, I had changed my location immediately, so that I was able to get news, right? That was for I had then followed. To be fair, I hadn't followed most of the places that I probably would have wanted to be, but I had tried to see people walking there and followed them. Probably try and have conversations, but that one is a bit tricky because sometimes people don't get to respond, and I can't.
Which is fine.
I can't even
still talk about the ego thing. Like you need to break your ego. Which is fine.
And before I would have probably been like, oh, why is this person not responding? But now that I understand what it's like working here and you're doing your 9 to 5, you really don't have time to press your phone that much, right? Unless it's break. So I can understand them not responding. And for them, it's weekends. They don't want to go on LinkedIn that is about a job to be answering you to get. They probably don't want to do that. But it's nice for you to, try and see if we can have those coffee conversations.
Coffee chats.
Very good, those are one of the things. So for me, it was like, okay, who am I talking to? Who am I speaking to? What am I doing, right? And another thing what people don't understand is if you're coming in this year, the applications for next year have already started this year.
This video is so awesome, guys. Like that's even another area I didn't note down.
That's what people don't understand, right? So I think before I came in, I had tried to see how the application happens.
The application cycle. So
let's
talk about the application cycle a bit, so that there's probably someone watching this who is maybe just getting into their master's program or doesn't understand it. Like, so basically what happens is like people who are going to join the bank you're going to join next year, they have their offers already.
They have their offers.
I know. Don't do your face like that. That's just how
they have their offers already.
Yes. So if you're coming to school, this is September. If you're coming into school, like be on your game already, because currently application cycles are open. So please apply, and like everything we have shared in this video, try to do everything, reach out to people on LinkedIn and everything like that. You were saying something.
Yes, so I didn't realize. I had realized that whilst I was in Nigeria. So for me, when I came in, that was the first time I applied for where we both. It was immediately I came in.
Really?
Yeah, it was immediately.
Oh, you're practical. The person that is part of the applicants. When me, I'm applying the following year.
The thing is that they had wanted me to do the internship whilst we were in school in June.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she now moved it to
that one.
Yeah,
we did.
Because I wasn't available, right?
Yeah.
But the point is that you need to
You need to be on your A game.
You need to be on your A game. You need to have had conversations with people about your CV. You need to have known somebody, you know, you need to have done this thing.
Is really good though. Because the day you revamped my CV for me, I'm like, I used to think this CV was good though.
Do you know, I think the thing for me is because when I realized that my internship wasn't going to move into a full-time role, I knew that I had to start all over again and you know, get my applications in right from time because of everything that was going on. So for me, I had spoken to so many people, or I'd spoken to some HR specialists about my CV and how, and that's something to also do as well. Reach out to HR specialists. Especially the ones in the UK.
Kenny was my own HR specialist because she literally revamped
you need to reach out to people and ask them, oh, can you have a look at my CV, right? So I had a conversation with the HR specialist in the UK to say, oh, can you look at my CV? And I think that was another thing that he mentioned. He was like, you have years of experience, don't belittle it, right? We understand that UK would probably not take it, but don't belittle it, don't make it look like it's nothing, right? And another tip is remove Nigeria. Nobody needs to remove the Nigeria in your CV. Remove it. Nobody wants to know. Remove the Nigeria in your CV. It's only when they ask you that you tell them, right? If not, remove it. So when I removed it, I kind of felt like there was a difference somewhere, you know, because it's like, okay,
you did the same thing for me as well.
So
I had to remove
the Nigeria in your CV. So that was what really like made me to be like, oh, okay. So like when the application cycle now opened for us again the next day, that was when I now started applying. But I mean, of course, it's UK, you're going to get as many rejections.
I actually forgot about that part.
You're going to get so much rejection that you will feel like shit. You'll feel like, what am I doing in my life?
Guys, Kenny is a first class graduate.
Do you get one time?
I am a first class graduate.
2 times.
Kenny is a distinction graduate of finance. By the grace of God, I am a distinction.
You are going to get that rejection.
Literally.
Do you know that there was one time I had
I feel like crying.
There was one time that I worked in the Big Four. There is nothing you want to tell me that I'm not getting to the Big Four that I worked in the Nigeria, in the UK.
Come on, you're already getting possible.
And they rejected me. I was so humbled. I was like, what do you guys mean? I worked in your entity in Nigeria, and I'm moving to the UK, and I'm applying here because I feel like, they never waste time. Like,
guys, don't take it personal. Speaking about rejections, like, don't take it personal. Like, don't take it personal. Do you have an idea of how many applications you made?
To be honest, it was a lot. I think it was probably over 100.
I was going to say mine was over 100 as well.
It was more than 100.
I mean, don't take rejection personal. Like, you heard her. Like, at the end of the day, everything is going to work out fine.
It is going to work out.
And if you stick to this channel long enough, like, I have a video in the works as well concerning my personal experience. But like, if you stick long enough, God will come through. And speaking about God, I want us to tie it up like around God. Now, what do you want to say about the God factor? I mean, all these things are good, and we are going to, at the end of this video, give you like the top 3 things and top 4 things to do. But without God, like, everything is a mess. Because I mean, we were having a chat before this video that we are shooting, and you literally said it point blank. Like, you said it's an opportunity, it's a privilege, right? There are some people that are not privileged to continue like what they were doing back home here. So we do not, as much as we've laughed and shared like the downtimes and everything, we do not underestimate the place of God and the fact that it's a privilege. So do you want to talk a bit about like how your faith has played in the whole thing as well?
I saw something recently about how having the lowest moments of your life can bring you closer to God, and I couldn't relate more because having the lowest moments of your life and nobody to turn to can actually bring you closer to God once you accept to be closer to God. Because you know, you can have a low moments and not so,
and it will turn you away from God.
It will turn you away from God, right? But for me, I realized that I didn't have anybody in the UK that was going to help me, or call somebody, that would probably give me a shout or somebody that would collect my CV and drop it somewhere for me. So it made me to run to him and tell him, I know I'm having this season for a reason. I know that you want to teach me something, and I want you to help me to recognize it. I also want you to help me to stay committed, because it's mentally draining putting your CV out there. It's a case of don't take it personal, but see, there are times that you have to take it.
No, there are sometimes you take it personal. There's sometimes you have to have a conversation with God, like, God, what did I do wrong? Is it just me?
Did you get?
I thought I knew small thing. I didn't know that it's looking like
So for me, it was like I had to turn back to him. I had to go back to him and have conversations and read my Bible and understand that, see, it's just for a period of time. Like, this is something that if you look back here, laughing, like we're laughing, we're gisting now, right? But in those darkest moments, in those moments where I had rejections back to back and it was draining, and I still had to show up for work because I was still doing my internship, it was hard. I won't even lie, it was hard. There were times where I had like those really breakdowns. There were times that I would not pray, I'll just be crying because I'm like, God, you're seeing my tears, you're seeing these things happen to me. And I would like to believe that I have sense. At least I know book. Do you get? It shouldn't be this hard because of the fact that I know book, right? But God really does humble you to the point that you call out to him alone.
Guys, I feel like crying because I'm actually remembering my own story.
God really does humble you to the point that you have to turn back to him. And the thing about going to God is the fact that you are his child, right? So that means that he does everything. He remembers that you're his child. He hasn't forgotten that you're his child, right? You have to go back to him and also ask him, God, the promises that you want to give me or you have given me as your child, can it be made manifest? Can I see it? Can I please see it? Because right now I'm not seeing anything. It's not like I do trust you, but can you please show me? Do you get? And I think the scriptures that really helped me through it was Joshua 21:45, and it talks about God, the fact that not one of the promises that God gave to the children of Israel did he not fulfill. Right? And when I used to read that, I would then go to my Bible and be seeing the promises that God has given us, right? One of them is Proverbs, talking about standing before kings and not mean men, because of you being diligent. I used to throw it back to him and be like, God, I've been diligent in my schoolwork, I've been doing these things. I want you to present me in front of kings, right? Another thing is, whatever you sow, so shall you reap. God, you have seen the hard work I have been sowing. Can I start reaping it? Because I want to be able to, reap it. I want people to see your greatness in my life.
So good.
And those were the times that I really used to throw, I would throw those things back to God and be like, God, your word says you fulfill your promises. God, these are your promises. I need you to fulfill them because you have already given me. You have already told me these are the 2 ways. So I'm bringing it back to you and I'm telling you, God, the promises, please start fulfilling them. Another thing that also really helped me was this portion of the Bible that talks about writing it down.
Don't make your vision.
Yes.
Though it tarries to come true.
It really helped my life. And it's so sad because now that I'm thinking about it from a place of testimony.
Actually,
I'm thinking about it from a place of testimony, but nobody really, it's you and your personal struggles.
Clean your eyes.
And it's only through your own personal struggles that you're able to understand that you have to work that faith with God. You have to do those things with God.
I shared a video recently that says your journey with God is personal. People can't understand. There was a day I was in church and I was just worshiping and I was on the floor and everything. And one man after church, do you know? After church, he was like, there's everything fine.
Do you know that? Now, you know, my flatmate has asked me that before. My flatmate was like, I heard you like in the flat, like it felt like you were crying or screaming, like what's going on? I didn't know how to explain. See, I was just talking to God.
I was
just talking to God.
Yeah. Wow, kidding. Like after everything we've been through, I didn't know we'll be able to sit down and shoot like I think another 30 minutes video. And see, wherever you're watching this from, I just want you to know that like God has you. We've been through this before, and that's why we are able to do this kind of video. And if you stick around long enough, you'll see many more of this as well by God's grace. But we're just going to wrap up this video very nicely by sharing the top tips. If you have 3 things to share to any international students right now, not just international students, any students, anybody trying to get a job currently, like what are your top 3 tips?
I think the first thing would be you have to know, first and foremost, you have to have the mental capacity to put in the work.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's a lot of work. You have to know that. See, I'm going to apply you. And it's 150
rejected.
You have to have it, and you also have to know it's for a short period of time. It's going to get better in a year's time. Your story will change. Right. And another thing is network, get to meet people, put yourself out there, have those conversations, you know, start early, like wherever you want to be, research about the institute, or should I say the sector really early, even if it's marketing, finance, health, whatever you want to do. You have to know the sector enough to know when does application start, right? So that you're already talking to people before the application season, or even if you're past the application season now, you have to prepare for the next one. So you need to know about your sector really well too. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, good stuff. I learned so much, and I feel like the wisdom in your head is too much. And thank you so much for gracing our channel.
Thank you.
If you guys want to see more of Kini, let us know down in the comments and tell us which part did you enjoy the most, which one resonated with you the most. Thank you so much guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it and you've stayed up until this point, please
thumbs up,
subscribe to our channel and share with everybody you know and think should hear this. Thank you so much for watching guys, and by the grace of God I will see you on our next video. Bye.